Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I've been using Apple's TechWoven case for my 17 Pro Max for about 3 months now, and I've got some thoughts on this case. In some ways, I think this is one of the best iPhone cases I've ever used, but it's got some pretty major disappointments that I also want to talk about with you guys. So let's start with the design of the case. Now, I have it in Sienna, which is a nice, lovely brown color. You can see there's a little bit of a difference between the sides and the back. So the back has the TechWoven material on it, and it's hard to explain. It's kind of like a textured material. I don't know how else to describe the feeling of it, but when you rub it like this, it gives you kind of like a fabric-y noise, if you guys can hear that. It's very well-rounded like the iPhone 17 Pro is without a case. And honestly, it's just a real joy to use this case. It's got a nice solid plastic ring around the top here, which even if you hit your phone face down on a surface, is not going to damage any part of the aluminum. It's not going to damage the camera lenses or anything like that. It is very solid, as you guys can hear from that. Now, around the outside of the phone is an interesting experience. I did mention that this is a different material than the TechWoven fiber on the back here. It's kind of like a PVC feeling side. If you've ever touched like an inner tube or like high-end water toys or something along those lines, it feels very similar to that type of material. I don't know if that's a good comparison. That's what I could think of, honestly. Shout out to all my high-end water toy enthusiasts. It is very nice feeling. It is very grippy, which is great. You definitely want a good amount of grip when you're paying $1,200 for the phone that goes in this case. And I did notice that online there have been a few examples of people that have had bubbling happen on the sides here. I have not had that happen with this case. It feels very well constructed. There's no like give or anything in the sides. There's no like bunching of material or anything. Even if I force it, nothing's happening. I can't personally vouch for that issue. And one of my other favorite parts of this case is how the buttons look. So the buttons are a nice metallic brown that contrast really well with the case. They're very, very clicky, very good quality. Honestly, love it. And the power button is exactly the same as those. Now, the camera control is a little bit different than you see on most cases, so it blends in very well with this case. But I did notice, and I'm trying to get it in the light here for you guys, is there's a little bit of a gap around the camera control. So I feel like if you pressed in enough on this, you could actually make the camera control pop out. I'm not gonna try it, obviously, because this case is very expensive, but the camera control is pretty solid. It just feels a little different than how it does on Apple's other first-party cases. I don't quite know how to describe it. And then on the bottom here, we've got room for our USB-C port, of course. We've got cutouts for the speakers as well as the microphones. And we do have 2 holes on each side if you picked up a crossbody strap. So this case is compatible with Apple's crossbody strap. I know that that's a pretty popular accessory right now. So just throwing that out there. And unlike one of Apple's other cases that also offers holes for the crossbody straps, this one is actually reinforced at the bottom. So even if you drop this case, I don't think you'll have to worry about these holes splitting in half like they did on this case for the iPhone Air. But yeah, just know that the bottom of your 17 Pro is going to be very well protected. So I've talked about quite a few things that I really like about this case. Let's dive into my dislikes. And the first one would be the strength of MagSafe. Now the case does feature MagSafe, of course, because it's a first-party Apple case. But one thing I've noticed with certain accessories is it seems like the magnets are a little bit weaker than they should be. So for example, I have this little Google stand that I use with all my phones, and for most of them, I'm able to hold it like this, not have any issue, use my phone. But what I've noticed is if I hold this at an angle, it comes off very, very easily, a lot more easily than if I had this on the phone without a case, or if I have it on the back of my Pixel 10. So if I'm holding my phone in my hand like this, and I put just a slight bit of pressure on the back, it actually falls off, as you guys can see there. I'm not putting an unrealistic amount of pressure. I'm literally just holding on to it, like trying to have a pretty decent grip on there. It pops off. So in my opinion, the MagSafe magnets on this are not as strong as they are with other cases. So something to be kind of cautious about there. And another thing I will say is, given that this is a like textile material on the back here, it's not extremely grippy when it comes to MagSafe stuff as well. So this does have felt on the back of it to add a little bit of grip, but again, I've noticed it tends to fall off and slide around a bit more than it does just on the naked phone itself, which is kind of weird. And funny story, when I was holding my phone, there, it did it again. When I was holding my phone like this, just walking around, I don't know why I like doing this. It's just very comfortable to like hold the entire phone at the same time, but keep some of your fingers free. So anyways, while I was walking around one day, I had my phone like this, and I put what I thought was a reasonable amount of pressure on the back of it. It fell off like it did, and it actually damaged a couple parts of the case that I will show you guys. So first one, hopefully you can see this, is up at the top here. So it fell maybe 4 feet from the sidewalk, basically from my hand down onto the sidewalk, hit this corner, and that was the impact. So you can see a little bit of the material is damaged right there. It's not too bad. Honestly, I've seen some other cases get damaged a lot worse with a fall like that. So I'm pretty impressed with the durability of the case, and it didn't damage the screen or anything like that. This whole ring around the front of the phone is very, very sturdy. It's got a nice hard plastic shell in it, so you really don't have to worry about damaging the front of the phone, even if you drop it on the sidewalk. And then it did also hit the back here. So this one is really hard to see, but you'll have to take my word for it. There is a slight little impact point right there on the camera ring. Again, it did a really great job of taking the hit. No part of the back of the phone was damaged. It didn't hit anywhere else on the back. You literally can't tell from the back that this case has ever been damaged. And the fact that the only part of the case that got hurt was this one little corner, I take that as a huge win, because these phones are expensive. We want to make sure they're well protected. My lighting is looking terrible now. And it is important to note that this is a $70 case. That is very, very expensive. Now, I did notice during Black Friday that this dipped into the 60s. It was in the 50s at one point. I think that's a great price for a case like this. Again, this is a very well-made case, feels very high-end. I love how grippy the back is. I love the way that it feels in the hand. It's not so great with MagSafe accessories, but if you're able to look past that point and enjoy the case for what it is, being very sturdy, very durable, and very classy at the same time, I think this is a fantastic case, and I would highly recommend it. Have you guys used one of the new TechWoven cases? Go ahead and let me know down in the comments. I'd love to chat about it. And hey, if you like this style of review, you might as well go ahead and get subscribed and drop a like down below, just because I asked for one. And I will see you guys in another video very, very soon. Catch you later. A peace.